Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we talked about the economic system and we explained the main three issues or areas covered by the economic system. And this economic system, it depends on which point of view, which ideology, which fundamental idea you believe in. If you believe in Islam, then the solutions you would provide are completely different from the solutions of a communist or a democrat. But, and that was why I asked you, have you ever heard about democratic physics? If you contemplate upon economic science, the science of making money growing, this is universal. Which machines do I need in order to exploit this land, or to irrigate this land, or to build a factory, or to run a factory? It's a question of how to. It's a question of means and not ideas or thoughts. So this part is universal. But this part, the economic system, it's specific. So I, as a Muslim, can study economic science at any capitalistic institute or university, or any university in the world, regardless if I'm studying in Saudi Arabia, in the US, in Russia, in Ukraine, in the UK, and so on. But studying the economic system, that's completely different. Then I have to address the Muslim and ask him, what's the economic system of Islam? What are the rules that Sharia, that the Islamic revelation has provided us with? So we have two areas, and we are not allowed intellectually to mix up the two areas, because since we do that, we lack the Christianity of Islam, the clearance, the obviousness of Islam. And we will fail to provide solutions. Because imagine that one who is mixing up economic system and economic science, he comes to you and he says, where in the Quran or Sunnah does it state how to make my money grow, how to multitude my wealth? And if you fail to provide an answer, then this guy would either think that you're ignorant, or he would start that the Quran is complete. It has to give me an answer. Because if it doesn't give me an answer, that contradicts with the verse in the Quran stating that the Quran is full and complete, and it has all answers. He will have his doubts about Quran, but the Quran doesn't deal with the economic science. It's you, as a human being, has to study the nature. And once we talked about the relation between ration and revelation, we stated that one of the areas in which ration is dominating is the area of nature. Studying nature, see what characteristics it has, what features it has, how it can be exploited and utilized. And this is economic science. But if we talk about the economic system, no, we have to go back to Quran and Sunnah, and we have to extract the Hukm Shara'i, the Islamic ruling concerning each and every action. So what are the advantages of the Islamic economic system? The advantages are several. One of the advantages, and of course it's the most important of the advantages, is that it's revealed by the Creator Himself. So it grants you success, both in this worldly life and in the hereafter. And this cannot be granted or guaranteed by any of the other two economic systems. Number two, if we contemplate about the situation of humanity today, and when I asked you which countries are the poorest countries, then you would say, well, the poorest countries are the richest countries with natural resources. You see this paradoxality, this paradox between having a lot of everything and yet having nothing on the other hand. This paradox is solved by Islam. Islam doesn't state that it's the price, which is the mechanism of distributing the wealth, yet it's al-hukm shari, it's the Islamic ruling. So, for instance, in the Quran it says that when al-fi or ghanima, when you gain it and you're going to distribute it after the war is ended, then كَيْ لَا تَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. It has to be distributed on several groups, and they are mentioned in the verse, and the verse is concluding because the wealth is not to be exclusively owned by a few people only. So Islam doesn't allow this mess-up that the world is experiencing today. But Islam is organizing. Islam is not oppressing as communism, and is not as elusive as democracy when it says that, well, do whatever you wish. And yet in reality, you see that there are laws organizing. And yet this organization is not enough, because we have seen that peoples are starving in let's say, Ethiopia, yet Ethiopia is one of the richest countries in the world. And yet, on the other hand, you see that countries which lack natural resources are among the richest in the world. So Islam has given a solution to this problem. That if this district is wealthy, it distributes its wealth to the rest of the Islamic state or to the rest of humanity. Number three, banknote. The currencies that are used today, what are they worth? In reality, what are they worth? It's a small piece of paper. It says 50 kroner or $50 or whatever. But from where does it gain this power, this authority? That when you enter a supermarket, you know for sure that the 50 kroner you're having in your hand, or the $50, is really worth what is stated on it. Let's give an example. In Zimbabwe, for about 6 months ago or less, the inflation started raising. And the inflation is, in other words, the loss of value of the money. And at its worst point, this inflation meant that if you had this sum of Zimbabwean dollars, it was worth this one, 231 to 1. But I'm not telling you the whole truth yet, because I have to write some zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The inflation was 231 million%. So imagine that you have $231 million in your hand. You may be the richest one in your village. In the morning, well, your history.